Let's jump right into this. Every single time we ask an AI a question, stream a movie, or save a photo to the cloud, we are relying on a massive physical machine that actually exists somewhere out there on Earth. In today's Explainer, we're going to unpack exactly what that machine costs. And we're not just talking dollars, we're talking natural resources. We'll also look at why local communities all across the country are suddenly and loudly pushing back. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the physical cost of AI. 2, weighing the pros and cons. 3, enter Erin Brockovich. 4, ground zero in Utah and Georgia. And finally, 5, the fight for transparency.
Section 1, the physical cost of AI.
So to really understand the scale of this whole artificial intelligence boom, we've got to look at its physical footprint. You know, we beautifully call it the cloud, but actually, scratch that. It doesn't float in the sky. It lives in these vast, highly secure, insanely energy-intensive warehouses that we call data centers. These buildings are literally the physical infrastructure of the internet. They're housing endless rows of computer servers, networking equipment, and these heavy-duty cooling systems just to keep our digital lives and those incredibly complex AI models running 24/7. And get this, there are currently over 4,300 of these data centers spread across the United States alone. I mean, that is a staggering physical footprint for an industry that's basically exploded over just the last couple of decades. But they aren't spread out evenly. Virginia reigns absolutely supreme here as the data center capital of the world with over 600 operational facilities. Texas is right behind them with over 460. And remember, these aren't just empty warehouses. They are massive industrial sites that require huge amounts of local resources to function.
Which brings us to Section 2, weighing the pros and cons. Let's be totally objective here and look at why these facilities are so heavily debated. On the economic side, the draw is undeniable. A typical data center provides about 150 permanent jobs, paying really solid technical salaries, anywhere from 78 to 134 grand a year. Plus, they bring a massive influx of tax revenue. Between 2017 and 2023, government finance contributions from this industry shot up by 146%. But on the flip side, the environmental costs are absolutely tremendous. In 2023 alone, these centers used 176 terawatt-hours of electricity. A single site can use up to 5 million gallons of water a day just for cooling. Then you have toxic e-waste hazards and this constant 24/7 noise pollution from the humming generators and cooling systems. Now, I know abstract numbers can be kind of hard to wrap your head around, so let's put those environmental costs into perspective. That 176 terawatt-hours of electricity, that's enough to power 16 million average American homes for an entire year. That 5 million gallons of water a day for a single large facility, that is the daily water usage of a whole town of 10 to 50,000 people. And when all that hardware inevitably gets replaced, we're facing major e-waste hazards. Right now, only about 22% of global electronic waste is actually being properly recycled. These are massive numbers with a very real local impact. So here's the big question that bridges this massive tech boom and the local backlash we're seeing. If AI data centers are such a tremendous benefit, why are so many of them being built without meaningful community input?
Section 3, enter Erin Brockovich. To really explore that question of community input, we turn to a familiar face. You probably know Erin Brockovich from the famous 2000 film where Julia Roberts played her, right? The landmark 1990s legal battle against Pacific Gas and Electric over contaminated water. Well, the famous consumer advocate has just launched a crowdsourced mapping initiative at BrockovichDataCenter.com to track the rapid expansion of these AI data centers. She put out a super simple ask. If you have concerns about an AI data center near you, let her know. Now, Brockovich is very clear that she's not making a blanket argument against data centers or AI, but her core mission is fighting for community awareness. As she puts it, transparency means notifying residents before decisions are made, not after. It means elected officials who answer to their constituents first, not to the corporations. She's just advocating for real disclosure on resources, health effects, and noise before the ground is ever broken. And the response to her site? Totally staggering. Within just the first month, she received over 3,800 community-reported concerns. People were writing in feeling completely silenced. They detailed secretive backdoor deals, unreturned phone calls, skyrocketing utility bills, and even unexplained sick animals. This wasn't just a random complaint here or there. It revealed a massive national pattern. Section 4, Ground Zero in Utah and Georgia. Let's zoom in from the national level and look at two specific flashpoints playing out in real time. First, Box Elder County, Utah. A huge new facility, backed by investor Kevin O'Leary, is planned for a 40,000-acre stretch of land. Community tensions completely boiled over when county commissioners unanimously approved the massive project, ignoring fierce opposition from locals who were practically begging for a public vote. And you can completely understand why they were so fired up. This single proposed facility is expected to consume up to 9 gigawatts of electricity at full capacity. Wait, think about that for a second. That is literally double the electricity used by the entire state of Utah. It is an almost unfathomable amount of power going to one single location. Meanwhile, jump down to Georgia, and you're seeing a rapid proliferation of these centers. You've got major operational facilities for Microsoft, Google, and Meta. Microsoft has another one in progress, and there are several more massive campuses proposed across the state. But this local boom has triggered a whole different set of community concerns, specifically centered around natural resources. In fact, these concerns actually made it to the halls of Congress recently. During an EPA oversight hearing, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez highlighted a situation near a Meta facility in Georgia. She pointed out that heavy construction and explosive blasting happened at the exact same time local residents saw their utility bills jump by 33%, and their tap water literally turned brown. Holding up a jar of that contaminated water, she said the only difference between the clean water and this was that data center. It's just a really stark reminder of the physical disruptions these projects can cause. Section 5. The fight for transparency. So where does the public stand on all this? With the economic promises and environmental realities fully out there, national polls are definitely reflecting this growing unease. According to a recent Gallup poll, a whopping 70% of Americans now oppose the construction of data centers in their communities, and nearly half of them, 48%, are in strong opposition. People are understandably wary of what this means for their local grids, their water, and their overall quality of life.
Erin Brockovich noted that the single most common word popping up in all her database submissions is transparency. And why is that? Because communities are experiencing this exact, incredibly frustrating sequence over and over. Step 1. Local officials sign NDAs with tech companies. Step 2. Permits and zoning variances are secretly secured behind closed doors. Step 3. The project is finally publicly announced. And Step 4. The community finds out, but it's way too late to give any meaningful input.
Ultimately, advocates argue that if these facilities are truly necessary for the future of AI, the way they are built simply has to change. The goal here is genuine public engagement, honest disclosures about utility bills, noise, and health impacts, and real negotiation so the community actually benefits. When that happens, well, that's democracy working exactly the way it should. I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. As the AI race accelerates, town by town, all across America, will transparency and democratic engagement catch up before the infrastructure is already built? In the rapid race to build the technology of tomorrow, what is the true price of keeping the public in the dark today? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and keep asking the big questions.